This video is sponsored by Saley. I'm going on a road trip and want to try to use robots to remotely look after my cats overnight. See, I've always wanted to have breakfast, lunch and dinner in 3 different countries in a single day. Although human food, definitely not cat food. And usually when I travel, I have a cat sitter look after Ralph and Bella. Last year, however, I made a video all about smart cat tech and it gave me an idea. Would it be possible to care for the cats entirely using robots? Let me introduce the gadgets. First are the feeders. This is a dry food dispenser, which I bought way back for the breakfast train video. You can either control it manually via an app, or program it to feed the cats at preset meal times. Then I usually use these 2 microchip feeders, which keep both dry and wet food beneath the plastic lid. The trouble is they only hold 1 meal, making them unsuitable for looking after the cats for more than a few hours. Instead, I've got 2 of these. Essentially, it's a sort of carousel you can preload with 3 wet food meals, then keeps them refrigerated and fresh, spinning to feed the cats again either at preset meal times or when manually triggered from my phone. I've been using them for a few days to get the cats used to them, and they work a treat. Now in that cat tech video from last year, I bought the cats a drinking fountain. Many cats will only drink running water, and Ralph in particular loved it. However, loads of you pointed out a fatal design flaw in the comments. If there's a power cut, the water stops flowing and becomes inaccessible. So instead, I've gone for a more open fountain that's immune to this problem. It's actually the same fountain I tested when Ralph's brother Tom was still around. So we've covered food and drink, but that's inevitably going to lead to, well, let's just say we're going to need a litter tray. This is an electric litter tray, and when Ralph or Bella use it, motion sensors detect when they leave. After a few minutes, this metal comb sort of rakes their business into a separate end compartment, before resetting. It keeps everything out of sight and out of smell. And again, the cats have been using it for years now. With 2 cats, it needs to be emptied about every 2 weeks, so we'll definitely see them through overnight. Also, I know there's been a lot of talk lately about certain electric litter trays which can be unsafe for cats. But don't worry, this is not one of them. It's very safe. Next are simply some cameras, 5 in total. I can view them remotely, I can pan and tilt, and they even have night vision. I set them up in the kitchen, lounge, hallway, stairs, and bedroom to keep an eye on the spots a cats most often frequent. But what if they go out of sight? Well, this is a robot camera I can drive around from my phone. When I spoke about it in that tech video, I really wasn't a fan. However, it's massively warmed on me in the year since, and I seriously love it now. The only problem is, it can't get over particular door frames, and then can't make it back to its docking station and runs out of battery. I had to remove the mouldings and replace them with a Lego ramp instead. Is it gonna work? The moment of truth. Cool, so it can get down pretty easily. So I'm really bad at steering this thing. Can it go up again? Yes, it worked! I added a second robot upstairs, and we were good to go. It's not really cat related, but I also have this robot vacuum and mop which comes out every morning to clean the floors. I really hate mess, and with Ralph being exceptionally hairy, this keeps on top of it. As well as all of this, someone will be coming in to check on the cats regardless. Bella requires medicine after every meal, which I cannot and would not leave to tech. And in case anything doesn't work, I of course want to ensure the cats are safe and properly looked after. With that, it was time to say goodbye.
Bye, Ralph. Bye, Bells.
So more about this adventure. I want to have breakfast, lunch and dinner in 3 different countries in 1 day. France, Belgium and the Netherlands. I'll be driving, taking the Eurotunnel that connects England and France. And I wouldn't be alone. Meet Dan and Georgia. Dan's been working with me for about 18 months now, and you might recognise him from a handful of videos. And Georgia's been working with us for about 6 now. I feel like it's a perfect sized team, and they're both fantastic. You might have noticed I'm uploading a lot more regularly at the moment, and they're the reason why. Also, in a massive coincidence, a week before uploading this, a channel called All The Gear did the exact same thing. 3 meals in 3 countries in 1 day, and it even has the same sponsor. I promise I didn't copy them. I filmed this all 2 or 3 weeks earlier, but you should definitely check out their video. It's excellent, and admittedly probably a bit better than mine. But enough rambling. After about an hour and a half, we'd arrived at the tunnel, and the cats were still tucked up in bed. We're currently in the queue to board the shuttle to France and I am starving. While we're waiting, there is one more piece of tech fundamental to making all of this work. The sponsor of this video, Saley. Saley is an eSIM app, allowing you to stay connected all around the world. Normally when you travel, your provider charges you roaming fees, which can often be incredibly expensive. But with an eSIM, you simply download the app, buy and install a plan, and get internet access and mobile service at a normal and reasonable price, all without inserting a physical SIM card into your phone. Your number stays the same, you just don't get ridiculous roaming fees. This whole video is dependent on me having internet access to care for and check on the cats while away, and without using Zaylee would be wildly more expensive. I've travelled a lot this year, including India, Iceland, New York, Egypt, and I've got loads more planned. I've personally been stung by unexpected and eye-watering bills, so Zaylee has been a genuine game changer. If you're doing any travelling, I cannot recommend it enough. Get an exclusive 15% discount on Zaylee data plans by using code Chris at checkout. Download the Zaylee app or visit the link below. We are driving inside a train right now. This is very, very strange. We parked up, and then it got even stranger as the train started moving. And before long we were underwater, hurtling towards France. Well, under the water, the Eurotunnel goes underneath the seabed itself to connect England and France. And just 35 minutes later, we emerged on the other side, driving off the train in a completely different country. We're in France! This is so weird. We're driving on the right, which is the wrong side of the road. And I believe I'm going round the roundabout a different way as well. This is alien. Now we're stopping immediately, seriously within 4 minutes of leaving the train, because my stomach literally cannot wait any longer. Breakfast would be in a French shopping centre, which maybe felt like kind of slightly cheating, however because it was still so early, nowhere was even open yet. Instead we took a few minutes to explore, and for some wonderful reason, there was a slide to get downstairs. As a side note, this all felt pretty odd. I don't usually vlog. It sort of felt like I was playing at being a YouTuber, but I can't deny it was a lot of fun. Anyway, before long our very French breakfast choice was open for business, and things were happening at home too. The robot vacuum and mop was waking up for the day, so I took the opportunity to follow it around with the robot camera, and crash into it. It's like I was on Robot Wars. First meal of the day, we've all gone very French. I've got a pain au chocolat and macaron. Dan's got a Claire and a croissant, and Georgia's got a pain au chocolat as well. I've got a very French name on my drink, and they've both gone for coffees. Excited, Dan?
I'm very excited.
Excited, Georgia?
Excited.
Wow. As I ate, it was time to feed the cats too. I used my phone to manually trigger the dry food feeder first, and Ralph immediately started eating. But then the robot mop scared him away, and neither cat was interested in the wet food while it was driving around. Great start. I'm sure once it's finished they'll be over in no time. Anyway, on to Belgium, and for this next 90-minute stint, Georgia kindly took the wheel. It forever amazes me how easy it is to just casually drive over borders in Europe. We're in France, wait for it. We're in Belgium. So we're almost in Bruges, it's only taken 90 minutes and I am not at all hungry.
I am.
The cats basically just slept the rest of our journey, and in no time at all, we were almost at our next stop. As we arrived in the cobbled streets of Bruges, I was selfishly very glad I wasn't driving. Georgia, how do you feel about driving in these narrow streets?
Extremely anxious. The most anxious I have ever been in my life.
By now, it had only been about 2 hours since breakfast, so first we had to build up an appetite. We're gonna go all the way up there. Climbing the steps of the medieval Belfort, and Bella is finally having breakfast. There were 366 steps, and it was exceptionally steep and narrow. These stairs are never ending. Towards the top, I came across a familiar sight. This is a music box-like mechanism that plays the bells, and I made a whole video about it in 2018. The teeth can be moved to play particular notes in a particular order, and it's incredibly cool. But anyway, soon we reached the top, and despite the weather, the views were amazing. I'm at the top, it's very rainy, and I have no idea where the cats are. The descent seemed even steeper, and worse was slippery. But at least we were getting hungry. After a quick detour to a chocolate shop, where Ralph appeared briefly to walk under the bed, I was well and truly ready for lunch. And I think this location more than makes up for the lazy nature of the previous one. We're waiting for our lunch in Bruges, and the cats are nowhere to be seen. So I've gone very traditional for a burger. Dan's got ribs, and Georgia's got Flemish beef stew. And technically frites and mayo is traditional Belgian. I'm gonna count it at least. The food was delicious. How is it, Dan?
I've gone for the ribs, which was on the traditional menu, and they're good.
Georgia?
I'm still chewing.
It's a real shame we didn't have longer in Bruges, but I did just about have time to find some €0 banknotes. Yep, I still collect them. I have several hundred by now, but then it was once again back to the car and onwards to the Netherlands. So about 19 minutes ago, we didn't realise we crossed into the Netherlands. I didn't see a sign or anything. We've got just over 2 hours left till Amsterdam, and I'm already very hungry. I hadn't seen the cats in a while, so Dan sent the robot around. Ralph was a little apprehensive at first, but then I got this absolutely glorious shot of him investigating it. Bella was hiding under the bed, wide-eyed as ever. Meanwhile, this was the longest continuous drive of the trip, at about 3.5 hours. We went over countless bridges, and even countlesser tunnels. I genuinely lost track of how many we passed through. By now it was about 5 PM. Dan and Georgia both fell asleep, and I just wanted to get there already. I think we're getting close. After about 700,000 more tunnels, we arrived in Amsterdam. So we made it to Amsterdam, and check out my room. So I've got desk, really funky bathroom. My bed is up there. Check out this tap. When I turn it on, the water fills up here and then pours out the top. That is ridiculous. As hungry as we were, the Lego store was closing soon, so we had a quick look around before it was on to completing our mission. Now we've got to find somewhere to eat. Amsterdam is undeniably one of the most beautiful cities on Earth, but as cultural and lovely as it may be, sometimes you just want pizza. It's a very traditional menu of pizza and pasta and burgers, of course. As we waited for our food, Ralph and Bella were having a meal of their own. I've got pizza, Dan's got pizza, Georgia's got pizza. And just like that, we'd done it. 3 meals in 3 countries in 1 day. Albeit not the most traditional meals, but we'd succeeded nonetheless. The cats finished their dinner too, and we had an early night. We are going to end the video there. By the time I got to bed, it seemed dizzyingly high, and the cats were causing all sorts of mischief at home. The tech all worked perfectly, although when I returned the next day, the entire house smelled like cat food, which was gross.
Hello, how you doing? Hello, Ralph. Did you miss me?
But yeah, remember to use code Chris to get a 15% discount on Sailey.